So when we last spoke, what I said is that as we had indicated from November last year, the first thing we wanted to do was get a bridge loan, which would allow us to give us time to start preparing for that long-term restructure. We knew that our capital structure needed to change, and therefore the bridge is buying us the time to look at what's the best way to structure the business, taking into account the business operations, the 5-year horizon, and say within the next year or two, what would be the target financial structure in a mix of additional equity, long-term debt, and restructured short-term debt. So we're actually at that point right now because a bridge, the first tranche of the bridge has been disbursed by AfriExim. We're waiting for the second tranche to be disbursed. We are now in conversation with financiers and shareholders about what's the optimal capital structure long term, which was always a plan. So in terms of what would be the right level of equity and how would we go about that process, how do we raise the long-term part of the debt and how do we structure that, and how do we restructure the short-term financing into long-term debt.
So it would be fair to infer, at the very least, that you might be coming back to the market seeking more capital, at least in terms of equity.
We will definitely, we have to talk to our shareholders because, as you know, we're in negative equity situation today from a business point of view. So it is right to infer that. But in terms of how we will do it, considering that our share price is probably not at the right level in terms of attracting that kind of conversation, we will have to be probably creative in how we talk to our shareholders.
What about getting in a strategic equity partner? Is that also on the cards?
That's for the shareholders to determine, but you know, I think we will have the right conversation for the long-term viability of this business.
You provide quite a bit of traffic as Kenya Airways into Kenya's main hub, JKIA. But as far as I can tell from the fees that they charge, they don't give you any volume rebates, which would make sense given the amount of traffic that you bring in into this particular market. Are you in conversations right now with KA to at least try and get a volume discount of some sort?
I would say that that is part of a much broader conversation. The conversation that speaks, how do we align ourselves as a country, as a hub, to develop this hub for the future? I think it is part of a broader conversation in terms of government policy. How do we compete as a country more effectively compared to other hubs we are competing against? If you look at Dubai, if you look at Turkey, if you look at Ethiopia next door, there's a lot of alignment from a policy point of view, infrastructure, policy, airline, government support. And for me, that is a part of the conversation that we must continue to have, including, as you mentioned, how do you drive bulk usage rates and all. And it's not for lack of asking, but I think we still have some alignment to do.